Hey, it's Rafael Sintran here, coming at you from Dubai. This beautiful hotel here called The Retreat. We have the sunset over there, falling down on Atlantis. And the reason why I'm in Dubai, mainly, is because of taxes. And as you know, if you're a US citizen or if you're from the US or your business in the US, then Biden just became president. And that's gonna be a very big problem for a lot of people that have specifically businesses that don't really need to be in the US. So like me, I run an online 7-figure business, and what we did was we just decided to just completely get out of the US system. What I've done is I've taken my business here to Dubai, and I've actually gone through a very hard and expensive process to set up my business here, become the owner of the business. I co-own it with my wife, and then we just have employees all over the world. Unfortunately, if you're gonna move your business out of the US, then you can't have employees in the US, which is actually good because with the new presidency, there's probably going to be a lot of issues with having employees in the US. You'll probably have to pay more taxes on having employees, and it's going to be a little bit harder to actually have people working for you in the US. Minimum wage is going up, all of that. So what I decided to do was just get out completely. I've been traveling around the world for about 5 years at this point, so I have not lived in the US. And now I just decided to get everything out of there. I'm still a US citizen, although I'm planning on doing something about that later on. So what I would recommend is if you have a US business, and specifically an online business, I would honestly recommend you, and no matter in the world where you're from, because there's a lot of countries that have extremely high taxes. UK, Australia, Canada, Denmark. There's a few European countries that are notorious for extremely high taxes. If you're living in a high tax country, and let's say you're willing to move somewhere, you're willing to travel around, even though with COVID that's not so easy, I would definitely recommend you to do that. I've just decided to come here to Dubai. My wife is Ukrainian, so we travel in between. And those are pretty much the only two countries that I can travel to right now. If you're from the US, there's a lot of countries that you can travel to. Specifically, you're from any European country, you have access to all of Europe. So you don't necessarily need to stay in France, for example. I have one of my clients, he's an e-commerce client. I teach people how to start and grow e-commerce Shopify business. He's made about $1.1 million this year in his business, and he's in Italy. And basically in Italy, you get taxed very high, especially at that point. He's making about $400,000, $500,000 a year in profit. He decided to move to Malta. It cost him about $10,000 to move to Malta, move his business to Malta, move everything there. But it's a decision that, even though it hurts you a lot now, it's gonna be a lot better in the long term. So if your business is online, if you don't rely on people in the US, you don't rely on people in your specific country, then what they call going offshore is definitely something that you wanna look into. You don't wanna look at something like the British Virgin Islands, you don't wanna go to Hong Kong, Cayman Islands, very sketchy, Belize, weird companies that the problem there is that it's very hard to actually get a residence or any type of permit in that country. So let's say you start a company in Seychelles, then you might start the company, it might not even get finished, by the way. So there's a lot of services out there that actually start the company for you. Maybe the company isn't even started. Maybe the company just doesn't work. Maybe they put some errors in the paper, especially if they speak another language, like in Belize, it's Spanish. They might have a bunch of issues there with actually registering your company. Then on top of that, it might be impossible for you to even make transactions between the US and your company or whatever country you're getting, because you can't get a bank account, you can't get a payment processor. So that's why we've chosen Dubai, because it is the most expensive one, the hardest to do, and the most bureaucratic, I would say. You go through a lot of process and a lot of waiting for people to approve stuff. We still haven't even been approved for a bank account yet. So the company's done, everything is done, but we're actually not even able to move money into the company, funny enough. So I've decided to just move everything here, even though it's a little bit more complicated. I definitely recommend you too. Now that Biden has become president, you will probably see your taxes going up, specifically in high tax states. So I originally incorporated my company in New York because I used to spend a lot of time there. I then found out that that was a very big mistake. New York and California are extremely hard on taxes. Even though if you don't live there, it's actually a lot easier, because if you're a non-resident in most states, they'll be able to just let you go without paying taxes. But California specifically is very aggressive. New York is also very aggressive. Even though if you don't live there, they'll take it easy on you. But I would recommend you to not incorporate your business in any of those two specifically. There's a lot of states that offer really good incorporation, tax-free, or at least no income tax, like Florida is great to incorporate your company. There's a few other ones like New Hampshire, Texas, and you'll dramatically lower how much money you're making if you're a resident, or you dramatically lower how much money you're paying in taxes if you are a resident of that state. So another thing is, it depends on your citizenship. So if you are a US citizen like me, wherever you go in the world, you will have to report and pay your income. So last year, I spent about 1 week, 2 weeks in the US. You can barely say that I even spent time there. I definitely did not live any time in the US in 2019, but I still had to file and pay full US taxes, no matter what. Not state taxes, but I did need to file IRS taxes just because I have a US passport. And that's pretty insane if you really think about it. I did not even know that you needed to do that until about 2 years back, that my accountant, or the accountant that I hire, which I do recommend if you are in the US. If you're outside of the US, I recommend getting somebody that knows outside US or expats taxes. And that guy told me that even if I travel the world, even if I live somewhere outside of the US, if I have a US citizenship or a US passport, whatever have you, if you were born in the US and you do not renounce or you don't quit your US passport by the time you're about 18, then you're automatically liable for taxation. So you can pay tax even if you live in North Korea. You will pay tax, some sort of tax. I've been living in Ukraine, all around Europe, Dubai a little bit, and I still need to pay full US taxes. Not state taxes, but income tax. So if you're a US citizen and you think, oh, I'm just gonna get out of the US, that's really not possible. You do actually have to completely, what they call expatriate, which is quit your passport, your US passport, which is, it's a whole other mess. You have to get another citizenship if you just have one citizenship. So it's pretty tough. But if you're from, let's say, UK, Canada, Australia, or any European country, you can just get out of your country and become a non-resident and then move to another country like Dubai, for example. That'll cause some issues, specifically with payment processors. If you're running a business like Shopify, running a business like a consulting business, it'll be harder to get a payment processor or a payment company, let's say in Dubai versus the UK, but you can definitely do that. Dubai has 0% taxes. It's very easy to file, very easy to do anything tax related, and it's an absolutely beautiful country to live in. It is expensive. Make sure that you bring a lot of money here. If you make about 140,000 per year, 120,000 per year or more in profit, pure profit. So if you make 100K income, and then let's say 60K of that per year is profit, then you're entitled to what's called the foreign earned income exclusion, which is you can take out $100,000 or 120 out of your income and not pay tax on it. So if you make 60K per year and you live outside of the US, you can call that foreign earned income exclusion, and then you wouldn't pay tax on it. So that's the gist of it. I'll be posting a lot more videos here from Dubai and about my life registering a company in Dubai, moving to Dubai, and obviously my goal later is to not be a US taxpayer, but that's an issue for another video. So if you like it, I'm the global entrepreneur or the global traveler. Subscribe to the channel, hit that notification bell, and if you want to check out what I actually do for my clients, I help them build e-commerce businesses, grow their business. I'm not planning to turn into a business like teaching people how to escape taxes or something. This is just sort of a vlog or a monologue that I'm telling you just from sharing my experience. I think it'll help a lot of people. Thank you for watching. I'll see you on the next one.